to the place, right? And the guy was just like, "Yeah, man, you got crabs," and I was just like, "Holy shit!" You know, I mean, that was like the third time. Oh shit, we're live.
Seafood.
This was a perfect
Yeah, welcome back,
opening.
everybody.
That was great.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
Really got to get up.
Share too much. We're back with everybody. We got Iron J Rod, Jeff Fro in the hizzy. Kat, is a welcome to the show, Kat, to the stream. It's
Hello.
good to have you. We had some hiccups last week. We couldn't get you. We got Stray Cat Sway, Looney Tune, Jules. Did I say Jules? I said Jeffro. I think that's everybody. Is that everybody? If I let somebody out, raise your hand. Yeah, that's everybody then. Sojourn Killed is going to join the panel here shortly. Sojourn.
No.
Saint Journey Killed is going to join us here shortly. Hopefully, fingers crossed if we can get through. If it's a he, I'm pretty sure it's a he. That's an ambidextrous name. Means you can go right over there.
He says his service is not connecting. He's tried to do the disclaimer and all of that, and it's just not working. I don't know.
Okay.
Next time. That's all right. What was that?
I think that was something
The Easter
vibrating.
Bunny.
I'm thinking something else, man.
You know what that was, Jules.
Oh, that's someone typing and my phone's vibrating.
Oh,
Okay.
So whenever the message comes up, it's someone sending a message.
Hey, look how good my earphones work. Oops. Okay. Now we're back in business. I hope y'all heard me. I hope y'all didn't hear me. I'm telling you my medical history. And I don't have crabs. I saved my balls, so it's not even an issue. Anyway, let's start the show out with some class since I've already steered it off a cliff, right? Looney, you had a couple topics that you and Jules were wanting to touch up on. Hey, what was it? The history of ancient. Wait, no, time out, because I know this and I want to introduce it properly.
It's in there.
It was how
That ship sailed.
Oh, his brain went inside.
It did. Like
On
I
the
don't even know if it was
astronaut
here.
theory.
This shit never
The ancient
fucking left the
astronaut
harbor. Like, everybody just bailed. I think it's got a hole in it. All right, Looney, could you please start us off? You have a brilliant topic, and I know you and Jules were wanting to expound on some stuff.
Me and Jules and JB were having a discussion last night in Discord, and JB had mentioned he didn't believe in the ancient astronaut theory.
Shout out to JB, by the way.
Not me. Not me, JB.
Yeah, not Jeff
JB,
Bodine. JB with a capital J and a capital B. Number one on chicken dinners and number one in our heart.
Yep. So basically, the ancient astronaut. I have a cat. Ooh. Okay. The ancient astronaut theory is the understanding or the theory that like aliens had come to Earth in the ancient past and helped to seed life here on the planet. And so he had mentioned he didn't believe in it. So I had tossed a hypothetical out there that imagine a species much like the human race, super advanced technologically, and
5 fingers.
they come into
5 fingers, nose, eyes.
Actually, 6.
Head,
6
body.
fingers.
I'm just thinking of the species like the human species, just very similar.
like
got
humanoid,
feet, legs. Humanoids.
Humanoid.
Yep.
And they discover a solar system, and they start to like inhabit the planets, and they build up their version of civilization here, and they come to a planet that has life on it. And so they go to that planet, and they start to occupy it, and they have their cities, and start to build their civilization again. And so what if, like, on the planet, like, even though they're humanoid, since they weren't from that planet, like, they're having issues living on the planet. Not enough that it's killing them, but like enough that they're having a hard time living here.
Adapting.
So there's another species, yeah, like they're having problems adapting. Or let's say like they're in the solar system and their ship crash lands here and they're stuck here. I think I went with the ship crash landing and they're stuck here. So in this hypothetical, they're stuck here and they're having issues adapting. So there's another humanoid species that's native to Earth. So they decide like a way to mix their genes with a native species that's already here and make a better vehicle for themselves.
Perhaps a Sasquatch, which is my descendant.
The Anunnaki. The Anunnaki.
That's basically what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so like
Okay.
in the theory, like, so they're able to leave and go back to their planet. So they leave their creation here. A creation that's not necessarily native to Earth, like in some instances it is, because it has some of the DNA from the humanoid that was already here, like that version of the human species that was here, and we have tons of proof for.
Sure.
There's no proof of where the human race actually started. There's no proof of it. But like myself and others, we have this like split in us where it's like we feel that we're from here in Earth and Gaia, but there's another feeling of we're not from here. Like, if you look at the human race, we're the only animal like on the planet that is able to live here, but like speaking like, how do I say this? We need clothes, like we need shelter. We're not like any other animal that doesn't need those things. So like
has claws to climb
we had
trees,
to,
or
like,
fur to
yeah,
keep
like-
us warm, or canines to chew up, whatever the hell we put in our mouth. Or I follow you completely.
so we had to like adapt in other ways, i.e. clothes, technology, and now we think we're the big kingpins on the planet when what if like we're actually the aliens on this planet?
Yeah, what if we're actually just like a great big experiment
Yeah.
of
And
DNA?
like we have the soul, and for some of us like there's a huge connection with Earth and Gaia, and for others there's this huge connection of loving Earth and wanting to save it, but not necessarily
Being from here.
being from here originally.
Well, I believe in the
So-
soul because I've seen James Brown. So as far as that goes,
I mean, this is a
it's
vehicle.
very interesting.
This is a
Very
vehicle
interesting.
that gets. This is a vehicle that. See, I'm pulling my skin because it's not. It's just that's just a little part of me that is
I can do that.
getting the experience through my electromagnetic frequency of this life in itself, and all the experiences that I need to experience. That's what it's all about. And so you got to really enjoy the good and the bad and the ugly, and know that there's
Yeah.
a reason.
You looked at me when
why
you said that.
we agreed to it. We agreed to this. And for all those people that say, I want to get off this planet, I want to go, I'm not from here, I'm leaving, I just don't want to be. Well, remember, you agreed to be here for a reason. There was I don't even know where the camera is. Where's the camera? I'm talking to you. You came here for a reason. Go on, Kat.
I was just telling you hit the camera. You're good.
Where is it? Yeah. Do I look like I'm looking at the camera now? I need to know.
You look crazy. No, I'm just kidding. Yes.
Sorry, I dropped
You
out.
look lovely,
Get back.
and you're looking at the camera. You did a very good job locating the camera.
What
There.
I would like to input from this energy, what James is just talking about, is that over this Ishtar weekend, I felt a lot of Ishtar, Kali energy coming through. So what I'm saying is it's been coming for a long time. It's this balance of the male and female, divine feminine and divine masculine. And I tried to explain it to my friend today. It's like she's been denied her place for a long, long time. And she deserves her place. And it's only then when we get rid of the patriarchy and we get rid of both patriarchy and matriarchy because we've got something called equilaterality. Okay, I just made up that word. It's called
No, you didn't.
not being in a majority. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, so the matriarchy and the feminine has been put down for way, way too long. And I'm not being a feminist and getting on my high horse that men have to be put down. I'm just saying there's got to be an equilibrium right now.
You have to show us your armpits and how much armpit hair
there's
you got
actually
before
a
we
lot
judge
of
if you're a
ancient,
feminist or not. Nope,
there's
not a
actually
feminist.
a lot of ancient societies that are
Not a feminist.
matriarchal based and not off of the patriarch. It's based off of the matriarch. A lot of ancient societies were actually governed that way. It's just in the recent history is when it becomes the patriarch.
Well, yeah, recent history, like the last 2,000 years.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
I'd say 3,000 or more, but yeah.
I would agree.
What you got, Jeff, from? Excuse me.
Me? I was just gonna say the JB believes like me in a similar theory. It sounds a lot like Genesis, does it not? Similar as far as
come on out with it.
As far as beings that came here from somewhere else, sounds a lot like the fallen ones in Genesis, does it not?
Yes.
Yes, it sounds like an alternate interpretation of it.
Yeah, yeah, and JB's a Christian, so so he actually believes in something very similar to that. The stories sound a lot alike, do they not?
The Nephilim.
Well, technically, and this is something I'll just interject with this real quick. And this is something that kind of hit me when I was in deep thought years ago, before I started YouTubing and truther stuff. If God, the divine creator, like I don't like the word God. I find that a bit short and abrupt and disrespectful for somebody that creates generic for something.
It's a generic term. It can mean anything.
Yeah, source creator.
Well, it could, but I don't speak to God. I don't pray or anything. I feel like my actions, if we are of the essence of the divine creator, then my actions are prayer. You know, when I appreciate what he provided, when I help other people love or give my love to people. Anyway. My point is, if the divine creator created Earth and he is not of this Earth, just even if he used materials that were of wherever his realm is or whatever his, her, it, you know, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody's belief structure.
No, not at all.
That's why
the divine creator is alien to our existence here on Earth. If he is not of this Earth, if he was not born here, then he is an alien. And I'm not saying that like alien E.T. or anything to rub anybody the wrong way, but to me, that just is what it is. A different realm. If you're from a different frequency that exists, then you're an alien of this frequency, of this realm, this material realm.
Jumping off of that thought point, Linda Moulton Howe.
Run that one into a wall. Sorry. Go ahead, Looney, please.
No, but based off of that, Linda Moulton Howe has a couple whistleblowers who speak about ancient sites in South America that they're called stargates in a sense. Like you could think of them like a stargate, like a portal. And the shamans of the native tribes have certain ancient practices of how to use them and how to travel to see their gods or how to get their gods to come to see them. And in this whistleblower, in his testimony, he said that he met with the shaman or the spiritualist, and he followed their instructions, and he actually had traveled through that Stargate. And he wound up in another universe, and the beings he was speaking to looked much like the ancient gods of the South Americans. Their dress, their robes, headgear. And what he learned was that he was in a different universe. These were beings like us, but not like us. And they explained to him that they were working on an experiment, much like the experiment that's going on at CERN. And the colliders and all that stuff. And that they were trying to understand the fundamental laws that govern their reality, and they ended up creating a universe. So they put like a containment field like around that universe, only because they had realized it was growing. So they contained it, and then they realized conscious life was starting to spur up in their experiment. So they used their technology to create like ways to go in and out and interact with that conscious life in their experiment. And her lecture on this is titled something like a holographic matrix or something along those lines. It's a very good lecture, and she ends it with what if, and this is speaking of reincarnation, if we look at our universe as a universe of entropy, and that here, like, everything is on one path, and that is decay or the entropic, that path, and that when you die, that you're reborn in a universe where the entropy does not exist, and you start life being old, and then instead of aging, you're getting younger and becoming more youthful. So you're starting life with all of your wisdom, and you're learning more and becoming younger and younger and younger. And then at the point of birth, you're coming back into this universe, and it's like the infinite symbol. And that we do this over and over and over again.
Like
and
Mork from Mork.
From what?
Like Mork from Mork. Like I'm not
Mork
I'm
and
serious.
Mindy.
Yeah, Mork and Mindy.
Nanu
Yeah,
Nanu.
Nanu. Is that right? Nanu. Anyway, but yeah, like that. Like they're born at a certain age and they get more youthful, and as they get youthful, they get more knowledgeable. So by the time you're in your 20s, you got all your senses about you, and you don't fuck it up.
Yeah, and it's just a beautiful lecture, and there's so much insight in there, and it's just so, like, you were talking about the God aspect or the divine aspect, and that's one theory that I've heard.
Okay.
On that.
Yeah, I've watched most of the entire Ancient Astronaut series, Looney. I've never seen the lectures you're talking about, though. I have to check those out. Is
there
Linda
are so many out there, and I've spent so many hours just watching stuff. So.
Yeah,
the
theory
I've seen the
is
full series
that shows
completion of Mork and Mindy. So
but that
Wow.
Ancient Alien series is mind blowing. Like that
Mhm.
site Puma Punku.
Yeah,
The H
I love
blocks.
that
I
site.
love the H blocks.
How crazy is that? The
The
technology that went
perfection.
into building that.
Tongue and groove. Perfectly.
We couldn't build that today. We couldn't build it today.
Mm.
There is so much that we've not been told, and so much that has been destroyed around us. And they teach our kids this stuff called words and numbers in school, and when they could be teaching them so much more.
Mhm.
I always
Yeah.
wondered why they don't teach a skill called communication, and why they don't teach something called astrology. I mean, it's not that way out. I mean, they learned from it. They know all about it. They know how powerful it is. So why are they not teaching our kids some of this stuff? Why is it so hard for kids to have meditation in class? I was thinking about a year ago, I did a meditation for my slumber party for my kid, and they were all rowdy about 10 o'clock at night. And so I put them through a guided meditation, and they were all asleep within half an hour. And I thought, maybe I should do this as a living, you know, but it's kind of hard to break into the schools because they don't really want our kids getting all this good stuff. They just want them to work hard, you know,
Pass
swallow the
tests.
pill.
But
To me, the education system wasn't challenging, and I felt like at a certain point, like I did tune out. So I think I got a lot of meditating done in class, in all my classes.
Yeah, I did the same thing. The classes I enjoyed going to were art classes. Like I took art
I very
every
much enjoyed
year
art.
in high school. Like
Great
I didn't have to
outlet.
take it every year. I took it every year because that was the one class I looked forward to going to. So
Well, it was your
Yeah.
outlet, it sounds like.
yeah,
Yeah, it was the only thing that you could feel challenged by, using your mind, using your, artistic intuition, and everything else was confined and government regulated and, dosed in small doses. You could learn an entire school day worth of shit that they teach you in 45 minutes, really.
Yeah.
You spend the time walking between periods, breaking out books, reviewing bullshit, and it's just so slow and mundane. It's not challenging to a human mind. And a lot of people that fail school or drop out are considered problem kids, because they just can't concentrate on that mundane shit.
You get bored.
Yeah, they're not.
We'll see, but
it's not a lack of intelligence. It's a lack of being challenged. It's a lack of engaging their mind into something that, that piques it and can hold their interest. We're humans. We're not robots. And put in a cubicle to learn an 8-hour workday and enter the inner society with the patience and discipline to carry a job and be responsible. And it's just horseshit. And nothing's done for yourself. You don't learn tools or trades to be balanced, to medicine
like
and
that.
Mechanics, and just you can learn everything. Horticulture. Sorry, go ahead, Looney. I didn't mean to
Here in the
Jeff
States,
as
the
well.
emphasis is no, you're fine. Here in the States, the emphasis is so focused on going to college and that aspect of life that, like, if you look at America, there aren't a lot of jobs for after college careers. Like, a lot of people are going to college and getting degrees they can't use. So, like, wouldn't it be more beneficial to test and find, like, have a test that, like, you can determine, like, or even just ask them, like, hey, do you necessarily want to go to college? If you don't, there's so many different trades you can learn that you don't need to invest.
That's what I was going to say.
Of dollars into it. Like, you just go to, like, school and you have a career. Like,
well, yeah, like a plumber or, I mean, those, like, completely honorable trades that everybody needs. I mean,
blue-collar trades that, like, nobody wants to do.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, but it's honorable.
Yeah, it's definitely
like factories.
But you can make a living.
People to work in factories. Like, And there's nothing wrong with that, and that shame and that stigma of I'm going to be a plumber or an electrician or
yes, all of
in
those.
saying that though,
a technician. Like there's nothing wrong with that, and no one is pushing anybody to want to go into these jobs.
Schools are indoctrinating and not educating.
That's how I see college. Is just secondary
they're indoctrinating lefter.
Yes, Jeff wrote exactly.
Well, there's been like research done that it costs way more to go to college. I mean, basically, it's a losing battle.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember the figure, but to actually go now and go into debt and then think that you're ever going to get a job that's going to pay off that debt, to ever get ahead in a field that, you know, 1 million people are also out looking for the same job.
I agree. I went to college. I got like a art degree, and I wish that somebody would have encouraged me more to, instead of getting the art degree and spending thousands upon thousands of dollars. I'm a chef right now. Like, I work in a restaurant. I enjoy it. I love it. I could have spent a fraction of the money, and I could have gone to school, like a culinary school, for like a year or two. And I'd be a lot better off than now. Had that
sounds like you like what you do.
I do. I love it. It's just I found out 6 years later. Like, I wasted 6 years of my life. 10 if you count college.
I have a big problem with considering plumber and electrician and mechanic and farmer and all these things, independent compartmentalized jobs, to where you have a role. Say you're an electrician, but you still have to take your car to a mechanic if you got a bad radiator, or you still have to buy your food at the market because you don't have farming skills. These aren't super complicated things. They're basic understandings of pipes and fittings and wires and currents and things. Why can't people learn to do for themselves and eliminate the need for compartmentalized services? And I think that's where they got us. They had these trades. A well-skilled tradesman is somebody that's, that's skilled at their job, but I mean, a balanced individual should be able to grow a garden, produce clean water, fix their car, patch a hole in the wall, understand enough basic medicine to not have to go to the GP every time they get a runny nose or a sinus infection. But we don't have the balanced knowledge. We got a little understanding of this or a little understanding of that. We understand when it gets to a certain point, we need to go spend our slave credits at a specialist, to get your car tuned or to fix a flat tire or so many things. Where I feel like it should be taught in school from a young age to start to do for yourself, to eliminate the need of dependency, to have to do a certain individual compartmentalized job to earn the slave credits, to take care of the other necessities that are in your life, to where if you're truly knowledgeable about, society and the world and things around you and what you interact with on a daily basis, you should understand the basic mechanics of everything in your household. You should understand the basic means of repairing. If you want to knock a wall out of your house and put a sink in or add a room or whatever you want to do, people should generally know this stuff. It's not overly complicated, but because we are compartmentalized, it's just, I won't think about that. I won't delve into it. I'll focus on what I focus on, and I'll hire somebody with the slave credits that I do from my focus to come and do that for me. Whereas I think that's absurd. I think that's absolutely absurd. I look at college as a secondary indoctrination, to where you come out of the high school or you drop out and you do a trade and you join the workforce, or you go to college to become a leader and a promoter of the means that hold those people down. You become a more intricate part of the fabric that is elevated, because you have the college education or the college degree, and you can get a job that the people that don't have that can get. But you're doing nothing but compartmentalized, promoting that system. And the whole thing does my head in. The whole thing does my head in. I want to be well balanced. I want to understand.
But like, not like, and this isn't as structured as what you're saying, but just like imagine in like elementary school, teaching the kids how to garden.
Yes.
That's teaching them responsibility, number one. Number two, they're learning how to grow food at a young age, so it's going to stick with them. Number three, the school can donate that food, those vegetables, whatever they're growing, the fruits, to the community. So, like, it's helping to feed some of the homeless. Like,
yeah, I completely agree.
So it's like a dual part. So it's like a dual part win-win. Like,
yeah, I completely agree.
The children are learning. So, like, it's just doing small things like that, and then, like, in, like, middle school and high school, like, teaching them. I heard last night on the news, and yes, I watch Fox News, one of those, that colleges are now offering a course. It's a college course, and it's called Adulting 101, How to Be an Adult. Children, or not children, but like adults are learning in college how to budget, how to be an adult. They should already know how to do this.
Yeah, they should know that early. Well, you learn to spell in kindergarten, in first grade. By second grade, you might not have intricate knowledge of difficult words and 12th grade English, but you have a base understanding of how to spell all the letters and the pronunciations in the uppercase and lowercase and cursive versions of the English language, which many people I've heard is this had to learn the English language coming from other countries here in Australia. It's difficult. It's a difficult language to learn, but not many people speak 2, 3, 4 languages. And if a third grader can understand the basic concepts of the English language enough to figure out words that they'd never heard and how they spell based on their pronunciations and knowledge of the letters, it's not that bloody difficult. But yet we occupy these kids' minds with Santa Claus and all this shit. Why are you teaching kids about the core of the earth and dinosaurs and stuff? These intricate scientific theories that don't come into factor on a base, small scale, small mind, budding mind. They give nonsense to children and don't teach them things that they need to get by. But I completely agree. Why not teach them a bit about gardening? Why not teach them a bit about basic mechanics? Children aren't stupid. We're humans, and you can say like, well, they're children. They can't learn. Bullshit. They can't learn. They understand English, the hardest language there is to learn, by third grade. They're writing it fluently. They're reading in books, I have a huge problem with the education system.
Scientists. Everything's an experiment. That's
well,
age 5. That is, well, it's true. They're from birth to age 5. They're in a scientist's brain. Everything is a hypothesis, and they act it out through an experiment, cause and effect. And that's why they're such sponges.
Yeah, but they're also taught to believe. I'm not getting into a flat around earth. They're also taught to believe around earth theory, and that the books that the math is so difficult at this level, but we're still going to give you the theory of this, and this is the truth. So when they do get to a certain age and they dial back the education, when their minds are stronger and bigger and can retain more information and are peaked at learning at a more accelerated level, they keep it at a third grade level and just assume that the things that they were told, and along with Santa Claus and please don't bash me for this, but along with Jesus and religion and all these other things that they can't prove, that are theoretical or there's no factual evidence of, that they hold as self-evident and true. Praise the flag.
That's like the Darwin theory. That's a theory. It's taught on every college campus, in every high school, in every middle school, that we are indoctrinated to believe Darwin's theory of evolution as a truth, and it's a theory. It's a theory.
Which he even said that isn't sound.
He fucked his cousins. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. How can you evolve having dolphin babies? It's just insane. It's just absolutely insane.
Well,
it completely contradicts science. Science
28,
contradicts science.
Well, it's all about unlearning.
Yeah,
I didn't.
Trial and error.
Yes, I had to like unlearn everything I was taught in school. My eyes were opened that like in school and society, we're taught to be the leftist, mindless drone to go with the machine and what we're told to do. That having a free-thinking brain is wrong. Yeah. And waking up out of that and then just seeing how they just get worse and worse as the years go on and on. It's like, I'm so glad I woke up out of that. But it's like, you're taught that from the time you're 5
once you
until you either die or until you break out of it. Like, until your brain kicks in and starts working. Like,
well, it's conservatism. It's libertarianism. It's all that. Once you're taught the concept and believe it as a core value, it's a part of your belief structure, and you therefore accept what you're given from the powers that be as part of that, and you don't question it. It's just a part of your reality, and you accept it because that's what you are. You defend it, you vouch for it, you stand by it. And you don't really understand the concept or how it plays into the human existence and our human experience. And it's just a means of control.
Years ago, like, we were taught to question things and to have an opinion and a voice. And it's okay to have an opinion and a voice that's different from other people. Like, that's how the world used to work. That challenging each other in like intellectual conversations, that used to be the social norm. Now it's not. Yeah. Like, it's okay to have separate opinions, and you learn from each other. You challenge each other, and you grow. You grow as individuals. You grow as a society. Exactly. And it makes everything okay. And where society is now, that's not what's going on.
No, everybody thinks they have a right to walk around and not be offended by anyone or anything. And they think they get that confused with freedom of speech. And they call something hate speech that isn't truly hate speech. They just simply disagree with them.
I think hate speech should be open. If you're going around, using the N-word or calling Jews out or, things of that nature, at least you know where those people stand on something, and you can avoid trying to form a bond or avoid giving them your time or avoid giving them your sympathy because they wear their ignorance on their sleeve and they're open with it. But with suppression, ignorant people can kind of blend in with everybody else following the same rules of what not to say, and it's just completely hidden from people, and you form these bonds, and you're fishing with your friend and he tells you, I can't stand black people, and it's a very uncomfortable situation. It's like, you what? I thought you was cool, man. We was just talking about our wives and, our kids playing together, and then you bust out as a racist. If you wear that on your sleeve, you can avoid interacting with people that aren't compatible with you, that aren't a part of your belief structure. And I believe that suppression.
Come again?
So you can't get away with that everywhere in the world, though.
I believe in transparency. If you're transparent, then you have a better chance of finding your ilk, the people that are like you, your kind. And some people are super adaptable. I consider myself super adaptable. But there's certain people that I just can't associate with, that I wouldn't associate with. And that when you associate with people, you are a part of the people that you associate with. And it's not a perception of the public, regardless if you hang around. And I'm not trying to ruffle feathers or have anybody judge me or anything like that. If you hang around crackheads and you don't do crack, you're in essence enabling people and saying it's okay for these people's lifestyle to go on the way that it does. You're not really, you are who you hang around with. I'm a believer of that. And it's not a matter of opinion. It's not a matter of public perception. It's a matter of who you place yourself with, because you will be judged on that. You will have the hardships that fall in line with the people that are causing drama. and doing things that are negative or illegal. You put yourselves in those you put yourself in that situation, and have anyway. I'm tangenting here, but you can kind of see my point.
Mm-hmm. No, but to jump off of that, like,
I'm pretty passionate about that.
During Obama's term as president, as president, there wasn't much media cry out for, like, the KKK and, like, hate groups. Like, that was hardly ever on the news. We didn't really hear about it, see it on the news. The moment that Trump becomes the president, all of a sudden there's all of these, like, hate groups across America, and it's like, they have been there the entire time. It's just nobody focused on them during that presidential term. So now people are shocked, thinking, oh my God, there's all of these hateful groups. And it's like, no, they've always been there, but nobody talked about them during this time span, or like it wasn't a focus, or like it wasn't an opinion. Like they didn't care about it then, so they didn't talk about it. Now that like
they can their use agenda that, now. It fits their narrative now. So exactly. All of a sudden, it's this huge thing. Correct, right?
But like allowing free speech to happen and go on, even if it is like that, and actually knowing about it and being aware of it, you're able to, like you were talking about, like if you want to disown yourself with that crowd or not. And hiding, like limiting free speech is hiding certain groups, good and bad, and it's just going to hurt us as a society. Like,
it creates conspiracy. It's forcing people to hide their intent. So therefore they conspire to hate, but not be open about it. So there's no transparency, and you're hanging around people that you have a protest, and all of a sudden 15 people in a group of 100 rip off their T-shirt, and they got Nazi shirts, and they throw up Nazi flags, and they're walking with you. It's just like, well, if these people were transparent and open, they wouldn't be hijacking our movement to give everybody give the whole group here a stigma to say that we're all Nazis or white supremacists or whatever. That's just an example. It could be a black supremacist or Jewish supremacist. I can't stand supremacy of any race. I have no problem with any race, but nobody is better than anybody based on the genetics of the race or country or anything that they come from. The understand being
thought point though, like where if you're using freedom of speech in a manner to where like
we lost J-Rod.
You could have a mass nationwide school walkout to protest guns.
What's different?
But then if you're having teachers who are raising the question to their students,
thanks, Trey.
Would that same walkout happen, and would it be allowed by the schools if it's for anti-abortion or if it's for the KKK? Like that like is the freedom of speech and the right to gather and protest during school hours, is that allowed and okay if it's a not a popular ideal?
Right. Like, well, the mainstream
still be okay with children leaving school to protest anti-abortion.
Right.
Is that okay? And there are teachers across the country that are being let go for asking this question. They're being suspended.
Right. The government is therefore creating a good group and hate groups based on people that oppose that good group. And if the good group is the group that suits the government narrative and agenda.
They're still protesting.
At that time.
They're still acting on their right to protest. It's okay if it's for the agenda. It's okay. If it's not supporting the agenda, it's not okay. And if you raise your voice, there's consequences. And teachers are being suspended for just raising the question to their students, trying to get them to think, would this be happening if it was for an anti-abortion rally?
Right.
And the students are thinking, and some of them are saying, well, no, it probably wouldn't. And then the teachers are being held accountable in something that is not fair.
Not fair. Clearly not fair, but fair through the government's eyes, and push, the agenda pushed through the government's eyes. They're creating divide in that regard. You can't say that the Black Panthers are fine and the KKK sucks, or Jewish supremacists and are fine, but I don't know, the Mexican drug cartels aren't. I mean, either way, they're groups, they're entities, they represent something, they're pushing something. That's a bit full on with the drugs, but I mean, it is what it is. They have an agenda as well, and there's a group of them.
The whole point of this was that like students shouldn't. They're being used as tools right now for the agenda of politics. They're being used as tools, and that should not be happening at all. They go to school to learn. That's why they go to school. Protests are after school hours and on the weekends.
Kids don't.
Children should not be leaving school to protest at all.
I'll tell you what, I would accept the 21-year-old rule on buying a handgun or weapons if they make the voting age 21 as well. So they get the kids that have never experienced anything in life
other than TV age of the Army 21.
Twitter
and the serving age of the Army 21, because it's not right to send somebody overseas and use these weapons at the age of 18 then expect them to come back and not to be able to own that weapon.
Your brain doesn't fully develop until your mid-20s, regardless, So, I mean, you could say that a 22-year-old's a child. There's, it's just because you're fully formed as physically, or you're not really fully formed physically. You're continuously adding body mass and growing. And
the flip of that, though, like in the European nations, the drinking age is a lot younger, and it's socially acceptable for...
Well, it's 18 last night in my neighbor's yard. They were screaming, you fucking pedophile, you fucking pedophile, you fucking your cousin, you fucking pedophile, and it leads people to rational decisions, and I won't say anybody, but there are people on the panel that wanted me to call the cops, and I had to explain, this is just the way it is here in the desert, here with the drinking age of being 18. You're obviously going to have 18-year-olds with 15-year-old girlfriends that go and get fucked up because it's the social norm. So, yeah, pedophilia is completely rampant here. I had a friend that went to court that I go to school with in Port Augusta, which is all the main court cases here in my little shitty desert town. The bigger cases have to go to Port Augusta. He told me that the guy representing him, I suppose the defense attorney, I'm not sure. He told me the guy representing him told him that over half the cases that are pending from my town here deal with child sex crimes. And my immediate thought was like, well, how much shit is going on that hadn't even been turned into court? If all the major court cases from here are half of them are child sex, over half of them are child sex crimes, how rampant of a problem is that here? And that goes with the 18-year-old drinking, nothing better to do, young guys, enabling younger girls or vice versa with alcohol and are capable of getting these things. And it leads to stupid, irrational decisions like fucking your cousin, which last night they're screaming, I fucking love you. I don't even think we're fucking blood, you cunt. And I'm just like, these are children. These are children dealing with issues of incest and pedophilia, and it's depressing. It's absolutely depressing. And don't get me wrong, it reminds me of the trailer park back home, but I mean, it's just, this isn't a trailer park. This is a nice neighborhood. It really is. And hearing that, like the houses here are slam packed together. I'm going to make a video as to how this town's the 4G experiment. I live in the desert. There's a conglomerate on space. There's nothing but space. They got us packed in, and I can hear them talking now. I can hear them over there cleaning up their incestuous pedophilic mess right now. It's disheartening and it's depressing to know that that's just the way it is. You can't call the cops because it's just dumb drunk kids that shouldn't be drinking, that shouldn't be fucking each other, blowing off steam because they're not mature enough to handle those type of situations and those type of adult emotions. And you're right. The legal age to ship kids off to war should be raised. The legal right to have kids 21 is too young to have alcoholics. When you can go into a bar and form an alcohol addiction legally at the age of 21, I've told people on the panel before, I don't think my balls fully dropped till I was in my 30s. I don't think I was mature enough. Looking back on the situations that I was drinking, up to now, I think those situations when I was younger, I wasn't mature enough to handle those. And it led to immature situations as I got older. And that's things I've had to face. I don't drink anymore. I don't even drink. And I don't smoke pot or anything because I've got drug tests. So I'm clean. I'm clear of mind. And with clarity of thought, I look back on things and realize that even as a legal aged individual, those things led to my delayed immaturity or my delayed maturity. And I wasn't as responsible as I should have been as I got older because my whole experience with those things were completely irresponsible.
Look, all blokes have delayed maturity syndrome.
Well, but
yeah.
Just to jump in on that though, like if you look at society, the fact that students in colleges need to take a course to learn how to become an adult says volumes of our society that we're not teaching the youth how to be responsible and take ownership of their actions at younger ages.
Accountability, yep.
If you start younger, which is how it used to be, like if you were 6 years old, you had chores to do around the house. There was stuff that you had to do to contribute at the age of 6 in a normal household just to earn your keep. Like, and that was the normal all across the world. Like, once you're able to start to contribute, you were contributing and you were...
Yeah, chores.
Yeah. Well, this sounds ridiculous, but I was on a payroll at 11 years old. I worked my summers for my grandfather with my uncle, and I literally worked 8 hours a day, 5 days a week at 11 years old. That's how I spent my summers all the way up till I was 16. And
well, but like think back to the 1800s. Like if you're 6 years old, you're outside chopping wood. Like
as soon as you're capable, you're lending a hand.
It was about necessity, and with more and more technology, like. Now kids are lazy. Like, I have a 19-year-old little brother who has never had a job, who doesn't work. He spends every day at home playing video games. And I know a lot of people who are having these issues with their young adults around the same age. A couple of them are in uni stream. Some of them are not. Some of them I just know, like, around my area. And it's like, there's a problem with like this younger generation not wanting to get a job because they're so babied and spoiled and pampered. And it's like, when did that happen and how did we allow that to happen?
Gradual process, but
exactly, and it's getting worse and worse.
How did it happen? Like, how did we sit back and watch this? It was so slow, man. It was this year. These things are going to be taken away that help enable that. Next year, these things are going to be slowly pulled away.
And I think it's a process to take away our rights. It's a process to take away our rights. And
now they're using kids to take away guns. That's what it's come to, you know?
And it's like, if we just man up, grow up, and start teaching our children how to be responsible individuals who could contribute in society, our society would look 180 degrees different. Except that's not what the status quo wants to have happen.
Right. I think a thing about like children having children that aren't responsible. Instead of teaching safe sex or having somebody walk around with a baby and how troublesome it is to walk around with a bag of sugar for a week at school, instead of teaching these lessons, have a course in teaching the absolute responsibility of being financially secure because of the detriment you would cause to society and to a child that you bring into the world.
But that goes against status quo because they want teenagers to have babies. They want the father out of the picture. They want a broken home.
No, right, correct.
They want the mothers on assistance. They want everybody to stay in their norm and not question the system that's in place.
Now, completely agree. But my solution to that would be
terrorist and a racist.
teach about the importance of the responsibility of it, what detriment you could do to a child. You're not doing any favors to yourself, to the child, or to society by bringing a child that you can't provide for. And that means you might not be able to have children until your mid-30s. For some people, just it's unfeasible. It's not practical. But we don't teach that. You're exactly right. It's about pulling the breaking the family apart, having a single mother, doing a job, having the children in the care of some government facility, whether it be daycare or caught up in school projects or any way that the government can get their hands on your children and pull your children away from you without necessarily coming to your house and physically removing them.
They've
implemented those means. They've absolutely initiated that and
there's a school system. Place. I forget in which school district and which state, but it's somewhere in the New England area that this school system is enacting a rule that the children are able to pick their gender, race, and the parents have no say in it.
Yeah.
So you can have a black girl saying she's a white boy, and if the parents they disagree, they don't need to know about it. The school just has that on their forms. Children have that choice. Elementary school children are being given that choice in this school district.
Your mind's not even formed until 24 or 25.
Yeah.
When your brain's done developing.
That's exactly.
I know that's what's going on though. Like they're indoctrinating children for the political agenda, and it's horrific.
No.
Yeah.
It frightens me so much. Like, and it angers me. Like, these are children that don't even necessarily understand the questions they're being asked. It
confuses me. Smash. Sorry, that's me. You're glad. You're glad. You're lucky I didn't break something right there when you said that.
Yeah, I'm just glad I don't have children. I don't want them.
Swipe his computer.
I'm fucking through.
I know.
I'm sorry. Yeah, inside joke.
Oh, it is frustrating.
Massively frustrating. It's disheartening. And more than frustrated, it's so obvious if you have the awareness of it, and it's not that hard to see. It's in front of your face. It is what it is. But the mental dissuasion, the mental what's what I'm trying to say? I'm just trying to aptly put what I'm trying to convey here. The mindset of people has been manipulated and twisted to where the perception of it is completely different than what it is. It's doublespeak. It's doublespeak. It's catering to a situation because your heart is telling you these people deserve to have gender equality, but it takes away from like the human essence to say like, well, yeah, it's tough to put into words, but it is what it is. And I suppose because it is tough to put into words, like it's just easier to go with the mainstream agenda, And you trust people. You trust what the government tells you for the most part. Well, I don't, but people trust what the government tells them. Why would the government have out for you when they provide services? They take care of the roads. They set up the social welfare system. They maintain companies and regulate companies so the companies don't take advantage of people. Why would the government have it out for you? In what capacity could they possibly have it out for you? And you get into the intricacies of it and the details and the fine details, and you realize that all these things are set up for a certain way of mentally manipulating you. And most things that they regulate aren't that beneficial. The way that they go about it aren't that beneficial. It's just to suck your slave credits.
See, and I'm learning, and this has been told to me and I didn't understand it, that to have actual change in the government, because the entire governmental system is not out to get you. It's just there's a select few high up that have a plan, that are in on a plan. But starting small, if you get the right people in small, they eventually trickle up. So if you get the good people in small offices, and if you keep them there, and if you keep them in power and raise them up, you're getting the good people back into government and getting the bad people out.
I kind of have a different mindset. I look at all government as out to get me because they follow the same regulation. And even if their intent is good, they're following the structure that was dealt out to them, and they're useful idiots. And I don't trust a useful idiot. I think a useful idiot is just as detrimental as the person giving them the orders. You know, a soldier comes through, and a soldier comes from his wife and kids, and he's a young kid, and he's got nothing but patriotic intent in his heart. But if his job is to go through and wipe out a village of women and children, he's a useful idiot, and he's a detriment to anybody that he's around. He's a detriment to humankind. And despite him individually not necessarily having hate or ill will in his heart, if he's following orders and the orders are immoral and go against the human essence, then I don't trust a useful idiot. And I look at lower government as basically pushing the agenda of higher government, and they're fucking me over just the same as the higher government. But I do agree.
Well, no, but like if you
that's
look
the
at,
only way it can change is to vote small and have. Sorry, go ahead, Mooney. Go ahead, bud.
Well, no, I don't know if I'm interrupting you and that you were going to say.
No, you're not. I was done anyway. You get my point. You see where I'm going. I do agree with you that voting small and having people work their way up with good intent, that's the only way legislation can be changed. But as long as they're pushing the agenda, I still feel like they got their thumb up my ass while they're begging for votes over here. They're like, hey, I'm doing all this good or have all this intent, but in the meantime,
we're going to... the people voting in the wrong person. That's that voting body getting in the wrong person. There in California, there are like Escondido County, Orange County. There's sheriff offices that are joining Trump's lawsuit against the sanctuary status of California. And it's not that, like, they're racist. It has nothing to do with that. It's that these sheriff's offices and mayors, like, of these couple of counties are standing up for their constituents' rights. Like, the actual legal citizens who voted them into power, who the governor, the higher-up politicians seem to care more of the illegal immigrants and their rights than the rights of the actual citizens of that state. So now, it's very small right now, but it's a start. There's a start in the state of California of not all of us are for the sanctuary status, and we think that the rights of the citizens should come first in California. That's common sense.
It's in every state, in America. You know, I mean, that should be a world thing. The citizens' rights should be
I found out last night.
The highest regard. I completely agree with that.
I found out last night that my small little hometown, it's a small town, Ohio, is a sanctuary city. And the only reason it makes sense is because 3/4 of it now is nothing except illegal Mexicans.
That's tragic.
When I was growing up, it was split like half and half, half black, half white. There was a Mexican boy and a Mexican girl. They weren't like related to each other in like elementary school. So like that was my experience of somebody who was Mexican, was Rafael and Bertha. But like now, like even in high school, it was a third. Now I've been away 10 years on top of that, and most of my hometown is now illegal immigrants. And it's a sanctuary city in Ohio. Like, what the fuck? When did that happen? How did that happen? Mm-hmm. Like, it's just mind-boggling.
The thing with that is that the government is fully to blame. You can't blame people for wanting a better situation than what they have, and you can't blame people for being enabled to funnel money out of one country into their country, or come over here and sell. If it's allowed, people are going to take advantage of. You give people an inch, they're going to take a mile. It's human nature when they're under a structure of a government. When you're working in a community and everybody's held accountable to the roles that they play in the community and what they're responsible for, and there's no restriction of punishment. Like it's basically a wide view. If you rape somebody and the community sees fit to set you on fire in the street, they're going to do it.
No, but in California, you're released back into the population, and ICE is never called. They're not allowed to call ICE.
Well, that's a government-enabled
thing.
That's the problem. That's
government-enabled. That's the problem in sanctuary cities. And your hometown is probably about the same size as mine. Imagine your hometown becoming a sanctuary city and having 3/4 of the residents be illegal immigrants, and then imagine what your city looks like because of that.
Yeah.
Well, actually think of your hometown.
My town, I went to university here, and I didn't enjoy the university experience, but the people there are absolutely beautiful. Like, I love everybody that I went to school with. I can't think of one person that I've got a negative thing to say about. I really hold them in high regard.
No, I'm not saying in Australia. I'm talking about South Carolina. Think of your hometown in South Carolina.
Okay. And yeah, absolutely agree. But since I done started, I'll just say, like, I played a little bit of sport here, and I enjoyed all of them, and I go to school now. And I adore everybody to go to school with in my class. And I really think highly of them. I think they're all very interesting people, and they are accepting, and it's just a good experience, and they're good people. But the town is rampant with pedophilia and incest. And
are you there legally?
These people aren't. No, I'm sure nobody that I associate with here are. I was in Australia
there legally?
I got deported from Australia. So I was here illegally.
Are you there now illegally?
No, I'm not here now illegally. I've served my time. In my town, Looney, along the same timeline, because I'm a few years older than you, it was very much the same. When I was getting out of high school, I first noticed when I started doing construction, I was working with illegal aliens, or illegal immigrants, Mexicans, and didn't have a problem with them. Like I said, I got a problem with government. That's right, left, center, everything. I feel like the Constitution's a hell of a guideline to run a country, but there's so much against it, and it's toilet paper at this point. I feel like all politicians are beggars and liars. That's all of them. I don't have a divide that I sit on. I really don't. I'm more of a go live in the woods and fuck off, leave me the fuck alone type person.
So am I.
Yeah,
I want to do that.
Yeah, we'll get you over here. Don't worry. We're doing our thing. But as far as like my town goes, in probably 98, I saw the first Mexican that I'd ever run into. Like, Spanish speaking, didn't speak English, probably not a citizen, Mexican. And after that, it was just this influx. And it was probably about 2001, within like 3 or 4 years of me seeing my first Mexican. No kidding, man, 10%. And if my mom watches the stream or something, I'm saying this knowing that they're hearing what I'm saying. And I'd like to, what I say to people, regardless if they're here or not, they know it's true. I don't like to, I might inflect a little bit for a story and be big and loud telling it, but I'm a very honest person with what I say. And I reckon 10% of my town, and that may be lowballing. I'm assuming that that's lowballing based on the amount that I saw, was, I don't want to say overrun, but was converted into a Mexican area. There was a whole part of my town, a whole little corner of my town that had Mexican shops, no English, anything in the windows. Everything was brought up from somewhere. I don't even know where they got this stuff. But there was a Mexican car lot. There were flea markets dedicated to Mexicans. And it's just like I'm from a podunk, upper state South Carolina town. It's about 40 minutes south of Charlotte on the highway. off the interstate, and it just absolutely blew up with a Mexican expansion. For somebody that had never even seen a Mexican, all the way up to, you know, my upper teens, to the time I was in my early 20s, I was rubbing elbows with them at the bar. I was in traffic with them. I was seeing them at Walmart. It was just like, where the hell did these people come from? And I've got a dear friend, like somebody I considered a brother, that's serving time in prison for an interaction with an illegal immigrant that should. Not saying what happened was right. I'm not one to judge either way, and I'm certainly not going to get into it on the air. But there was an illegal immigrant, and the whole incident shouldn't have transpired. If the government did their job, then that situation wouldn't have been here. And my whole thing is, how did 10% of my town, they had to travel a long damn way. They didn't transport there.
Gee, how did 3/4 of my town, that happened to 3/4 of my town, the majority of my town.
Yeah, and I say this, it sounded, at the risk of sounding like a racist, but I mean, I need to stress that it's not my beef with the people that are looking for something better or something different, or looking for what was enabled for them to take advantage of it, because that's human nature.
Sanctuary city, and they're safe there. Like, if they get in trouble, I can't go after them in that little town. They're safe.
Right. See, American citizens don't even have that privilege, you know, of committing crimes and driving and being let go.
We're not safe.
It's just, it's absurd. It's absurd. And like I said, at the risk of sounding racist, the government filled the people.
You're a legal citizen in Mexico, you get deported. You get sent back. Now, if you're a Mexican here, you're supposed to be allowed to stay here. The Mexican government is saying, no, they're not allowed to be deported. They should feel safe to be there. They should be allowed to be there.
Is what the Mexican government is saying.
And yet their laws deport any immigrant in their country.
Well,
sorry, I'm getting angry.
Somebody
to, so, no, I don't want to talk with us anymore. It's making me angry.
No, angry. But coming from somebody that spent a damn week in detention camp and, you know, 2 full days in airport jail and not having my shoestrings and being walked around 3 different airports from Sydney to Thailand to Japan and dropped off in America, being walked around the airports at gunpoint as a criminal. Like, it's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. I'm not a detriment to anybody. You know, I like to think that I have something to offer.
Criminal here and be allowed to go free.
Yeah, you can hit somebody drunk driving.
What message is that sending the world?
Or you can commit rape, or something of that nature, and they can't touch you because you're a protected species. you're like a.
And then you're allowed to go back into society and do it again. Like,
maybe that should be America's representative animal, an illegal immigrant, this protected species. Instead of the eagle, the bald eagle, or whatever.
Most of the panel
here. That was very racist. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to come across in that nature. That was flippantly said. Because, like I said, my beef isn't with the Mexican people or the Spanish people or Latinos.
Yo. What were you about to say?
All I said was illegal immigrants aren't a race of,
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not beefing with.
It's not racist
Mexicans.
It's not racist to enforce the laws of this country.
Illegal immigrant implies criminal. It is a criminal.
I welcome anybody here that's here for a better life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That has something to contribute.
Heard of Ellis Island? Have they ever heard of Ellis Island?
If you're here illegally, you're breaking the law. You're breaking the law. Just by being here legally, you're breaking the law.
Well,
so why are we giving special privileges when you're breaking the law? Who else in this country do we give special privileges to break the law?
Yeah.
Give me one instance of that where you're breaking the law and you're allowed to, and it's okay, and we're going to treat you like a coddled child. And why is that okay, and why is that allowed?
1.8 million instances of it right now in sanctuary cities. But in saying, what was you saying, Jeff Road? Ellis Island?
Yeah, I mean, people need to be screened before they come in to so we know that we're safe. So we're not letting people in that want to do us harm. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
My thing is like, what message? I don't care if you're Mexican or whatever nationality you are. If you're coming here illegally, what message is that sending to the people who are standing in line, waiting, and paying a lot of money to be screened and come here in the proper way? So this government is able to make sure that you're going to be a benefit to our country. That's the whole point of the system that is in place. So when you're allowing people to come here illegally and then to stay, we don't know who they are, if they're good people or bad people. I'm sure the majority of them are good people, but
that's what
there's going to be a lot of them that aren't, that they're criminals or bad, and they should not be here, and they should be allowed to stay here.
Okay, I've got an analogy. Said it was a Jay-Z concert, right? People have been waiting. I don't listen to the radio. I haven't heard music in so long off the radio. It's not even funny. I listen to a lot of Sublime and Black Keys, and that's pretty much it. And
Jay-Z doesn't even do concerts, I don't think.
Well, say it's somebody at a concert, Pink. I don't know, somebody, and people have been reserving their tickets. Say it's Pink at New Year's, right? And people have been reserving their tickets for all year. Tickets are expensive. People are putting these tickets on hold, and a group of people figure out that there's a way to get into the concert if they break the law, but they're not going to be reprimanded for it. But with the knowledge that they're going to be basically curbing the waiting process, the money spending process, and everything else, and knowing that they're going to be offending a lot of people that are going through that, but they can see the show for free. Imagine the people that would take advantage of that. And would it be the most deserving people that would do that? You know, it would be a bunch of people with the intent to deceive or the intent to take advantage of and get something for free. And people that don't even like Pink would go because it's for free and they got the opportunity to do it. So people that had never heard of it, there's an event and they're famous and they're going to take advantage of it. You'd have the gates overrun with people. You'd have so many people taking advantage of that. And I guarantee you the majority of them wouldn't be hardworking people with good intent. It'd be a lot of people that didn't really know what was going on or could fully appreciate the experience. They would just be there because they could be there. Whereas everybody else that had to pay and had been waiting, they would be there because they would genuinely appreciate the experience and earn their right to be there. Yeah, it's a pretty shit analogy, but in the same regard, I mean, it's apt. In a smaller way, but that's all.
It's good.
Well, thank you, Stray.
I get that. When I get all of it, I mean, it makes sense. I have a little bit of a thing where I feel like, how did I get lucky to be born here? So, I mean, I put myself like in the paradigm shift of the people that are trying, like if I was in another country, I mean, I don't know what that's like because I was born here. So it's like, I can't put myself, I can try, but I can't put myself in that position. I know that there's a lot of negative, things that have come from it, but I mean, again, I live in New Mexico. A lot of, I don't question anyone and whether they're legal or not, I don't care.
You should be outraged. You should be outraged straight.
Well, they have their tribe that's like, there's like a wall, but their tribe was there like before the line was set up. You know what I mean?
Well,
so
Oh
yes, of course. I'm saying I'm not disagreeing with anything. I'm just saying like
no, absolutely. You're just interjecting with something, food for thought.
That's all.
Yeah.
There are politicians and strategists, and some of them are legal, some of them are not, and they're speaking in politics on behalf of the Dreamers in DACA and the illegal immigrants here that their talking point is if you're here in this country and you're contributing, you should be allowed to vote in this country's national elections. So what are your thoughts on that? So like if you're a Russian spy or a Mexican that crosses the border, or you're somebody from Iran who comes here, sneaks in, and you're working and spending money, their thought process, and these are the people on the left who are pushing and pushing and pushing for this, their thought process is, if you're here illegally and working and you're contributing, legally you should be allowed to vote in national elections. And they're pushing for that. So what are your thoughts on that?
Here, here in New Mexico, it's coming into effect really soon, actually. But your major form of ID here will have to be a passport. So
what's coming into there that like?
Because of what you're talking about, because of what you're speaking about, it's really easy to get IDs to be able to.
Yeah, they're making it easy for illegal immigrants to vote, but legally speaking, illegal immigrants are not allowed to vote in our election. Legally, they're not allowed to. It's illegal.
Oh, no, I totally agree with all that. I believe that there's a line, people are waiting. I mean, there's a system. I very much believe the system.
The past year and a half, all we've heard about is the Russia collusion into like infiltrating and affecting the election in this country. We've heard nothing but like Russians interfering with our election. So that is the same thing that they're pushing for by allowing illegal immigrants to vote in an election that they're not legally required or eligible to vote in. So they're complaining on one hand and saying this whole thing happened, and then saying it's okay if these people do it.
Well, I do believe that you should be either a natural born citizen or a citizen of the United States to vote in any United States election.
That's how the laws are written. You are a legal citizen of this country to be able to vote in national elections. That's how the law is structured.
Yes.
Stray's going to have to protest when they petition to change the name of New Mexico to Old America.
But like,
or New Mexico. Now New Mexico. Or now Mexico. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll just run that in all. Guys, I think we've been at it for a couple hours. How do y'all feel in about 10 minutes? Okay. We'll go ahead and close this segment up. It's getting, this is really good Discord. This is very good insight, Looney, and very well steered, brother. But maybe we'll jump into the esoteric corner with Julia and Kat. We'll get Kat back on, and hopefully Jules will make an appearance. I'm not sure where she went. I know there's a blank spot.
I think she's still trying to comb the leaves out of her hair. I'm joking. It's a joke on last week's stream.
Okay, well, I think we've got oh, that's why it's doing that. I'll do this. Ha. I hope my mic hadn't been double picking. I hope I hadn't been getting reverb this whole time. That's horrible if it has. I have my mic set on my computer.
No, you had.
It might not affect us, but anybody watching, it might have been like, hello.
Yeah, D,
it might have been like that the whole time.
Yeah, D, I watched a little on YouTube, and it sounds fine.
Okay, good call, Jeffro. Thank you, brother. Yeah, I mean, so we'll go ahead and expound on this. I think it's fantastic, where the conversation went, and I think it was very open-minded. I don't think anybody's exposed themselves as filled with hate or anti anything other than the law. I mean, for myself, anti-government. I'm not big on the government, and I don't like the way that laws are written. And I'm very adamant about that. So if anybody has an opinion of me as a good old Southern boy, sitting on one side of the fence or something, then let me squash that right now, because that's not the case. I just want to be left the hell alone. Hey, I just
really fast. Have you heard
supreme.
Have you heard there's a college in, I want to say Massachusetts, that wants the statue of Thomas Jefferson removed from their college campus?
What for? Under what grounds?
He owned slaves.
Oh, he was a Nazi.
He was the president of the country, Nazi. The Secretary of State. Like, he wrote.
It doesn't matter what he represented. He lived in an era.
Like, just where these kids are going with what they want to do, it's just. So look into that. I challenge you to look into Massachusetts. There's a college, and students want Thomas Jefferson statue taken down and removed.
I'll definitely look into that. Maybe we can touch up on that next week and get into, the motives behind that and have a bit of a debate as to why that's insane. Somebody's offended, so we have to change something. Sorry, guys, I just got a message pop up on my screen from my mom that said the chat won't let her talk.
No.
So I'll sort that out. Shay, if you can hear me. Mom, my mom. My mom was watching. I love
Hi, Dee's mama. Shout out.
Like Forrest Gump, boy loves his mama.
Hello.
Oh.
Love, love, love.
So, Shay, if you're listening, I'll pull the stream up next time. I don't have it up, but on the Hangout, so I can kind of maintain what's going on. But I'll pull the stream up for the next bit, and I'm sure she had a lot to expound on that. She's from a cotton mill town in South Carolina that there's a lot of blue collar labor work that I'm sure that since I left close to 15 years ago, I'm sure there's been a massive influx or major changes. And
I'm in the deep South
I'd like
too.
To hear what's, Yeah, absolutely. Jeffro's in an island though. It's cool, man. Jeffro's in a nice place.
Yeah. Beautiful place.
Yeah, it's okay. I guess we'll wrap it up here, guys, if that's all right. If everybody's
cool.
feels vented and is it they got their point across, or if there's anything anybody'd like to touch up on, feel free to interject.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll get to it when we get back.
Okay. Well, I'll touch up real quick when you mentioned
Ellis Island. We'll get to it now, just because when we come back, it'll be Jules and Kat doing our corner. So
we'll be reserving ourselves, so we'll get some esoteric input, astrologic and esoteric input. I don't know if astrology is or it is now. the dictionary of DMAC.
Coming up next.
Yeah, coming up next, the esoteric hour. I don't know if it's an hour, however long they take, with Julia and Kat. All right, guys.
Stray, are you coming back?
Of course, I'll be back.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I intend to see all you guys back, and we've got 3 that fell off that hopefully we can fish back on here.
Yes, I will be here.
I have to bait the hook as the masturbator that I am.
Kat has, she's in the chat. She said that she'll be back on.
Okay, yeah, I know.
Awesome.
I know that political discord isn't necessarily her wheelhouse. Yeah, we've discussed that. So I mean, it's absolutely understandable, and like I said, we'll try to get them on the hook and reel them back into the show and stream show. I said show, the shithouse project that we're doing together. Minus DMAC, and it might actually be a show, but this is very enjoyable. I might have to change the name to something a bit more mature and mention to ignore the first 10 minutes of me making stupid comments because it gets fairly deep. Okay, guys, well, I'm gonna go ahead and hang up, and I'll meet you guys in Discord, and I'll set this up, and then we can all jump back over. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I love you and leave you guys. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right, brother. Later.
Okay. Bye, guys.